Hello guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be ranking every single new reverse retro jersey for the 2023 NHL season. Now, the first reverse retros were released a couple of years ago. Now we have a new set for every single NHL team, a new set of jerseys to talk about, see on the ice, and rank in today's video. But which reverse retro jerseys do I see as the best and the worst, and where do I rank your favorite team's jersey in this video? Watch till the end for all of the rankings, all the picks, and hit that subscribe button to the Sportsnet YouTube channel for the best sports coverage around. Now let's get right into the jerseys, shall we? And let's start off with the worst place position, number 32, and in my opinion, the worst reverse retro jersey. And for a lot of this list, I like to give points to originality and kind of dock points against jerseys that I find are rather basic or uninspired. To me, going on in 32, I have the Philadelphia Flyers. Now, what's cool is that they will be wearing throwback pants during warm-ups when they're wearing these, but the jersey itself is about as plain as you could possibly get. There is some nods, of course, to the past for the Flyers, and of course the Flyers have never gone too extravagant in their jersey designs, but at the same time, it's a white jersey that really doesn't have much color to it, and to me, compared to the rest, there's just not that much to really look at. Next up at number 31, I have the Tampa Bay Lightning jersey, and this is a design that I think if they brought back in the right way, could have been a really interesting reverse retro. But they needed to bring it in the right way, and to me, I don't think this jersey was really handled all too correctly. I don't like the gray whatsoever on the top of the shoulders, and although there is still a lot of spunk with the jersey going back to the 90s design, to me, I just don't think it was really transitioned well to the current era. You saw the Ducks in their last reverse retro, I think handling that type of out there design a lot better, but to this, I just don't think it really fits all that well in this generation, especially with the current Lightning jerseys. Now let's move on to number 30, and the St. Louis Blues. And this one to me is pretty bold. You bring back a lot of old style from Blues jerseys. You bring back, of course, that word mark and that unique logo that they had a long time ago. And then, of course, you have the big, bold yellow as the main color. And I personally am not the biggest fan of yellow jerseys, but at the same time, I can really see what they're going for here. And I am a little bit impressed by how brash they were with this design. But now let's go on to number 29, and to me this is just a confusing jersey all around in the Seattle Kraken. Now, obviously, there isn't much to go off with a reverse retro. The Kraken don't have much history whatsoever, so they obviously went with a much older design in Seattle hockey history. But to me, I feel like this design would have been so much better if it wasn't just that normal Kraken logo. To me, it looks like a knockoff that you'd buy that would have the main logo on the crest. But to me, maybe an older style logo, maybe along the lines of a Metropolitans, perhaps. I'm not sure. But maybe having a more basic S in the middle that fit more with the color scheme, I think would have been perfect. But to me, I think it's just a missed opportunity. Now we'll move on to number 28, and another team that likes to go rather basic with their reverse retros in the Detroit Red Wings. Now, I'm still holding out hope that this will look better on the ice, especially with equipment, but in terms of the raw jersey by itself, I have no idea why anybody would ever buy this, which I think should be the main point of reverse retros, especially for one-off jerseys. You should hope that they'd be a great addition to any jersey collector's collection, and any fan that's trying to get these jerseys. If I was a Red Wings fan, I'm not sure if I would ever get this jersey. Obviously, really basic and paying homage to one of the oldest Red Wings jerseys, but to me, I just think, especially as just a pure jersey, it looks pretty awful. Now I'm going to move on to number 27 and go on to another confusing one for me, at least, in the Colorado Avalanche. And to me, I feel like it would have been just a slam dunk to go back to the Nordiques, make a full color version of what they did in the last reverse retros, where they have the white version, then you could go for the full color version. But they go for, obviously, a lot more of a Rockies design. And to me, I think it's fine. It's okay. I don't love the color scheme, especially on this type of design. And I think that is why it's so low. Next up at number 26, though. Next up, I have the Buffalo Sabers. Now, this is one that I could see a lot of people having a lot higher, but to me, I think it's rather basic, especially since we're now going to be getting the goat head in its full glory, not in this reverse retro, in another jersey for Buffalo. I feel like this jersey with the current Sabers logo, or current Sabers colors, I think is kind of just a little bit lackluster. I much rather see the goat head in that true red, where I think it really belongs. Next up, though, let's move on to 25 and go on to, I guess, another Rocky Rockies design in the New Jersey Devils. Now, this one to me is a lot more creative than the Avalanche one, going for just this full Rockies look and really interestingly so with the Devils logo there too. But to me, I just feel like it doesn't really fit New Jersey's style, their brand whatsoever, and especially of how they tried to incorporate it with the Devils logo, it just looks really off to me. Next up at number 24, I have the Toronto Maple Leafs, and this jersey to me is the definition of fine. I don't really have anything wrong with it per se, but I was kind of expecting a white version of this jersey, and to me that would have been a lot more unique, especially with the jersey that we gotten recently, but it's okay, it's fine, but it comes in at number 24. Next up though, I have at number 23, kind of the Detroit Red Wings jersey, but I think handled a lot better in the Chicago Blackhawks. Now there's so many similarities. You got, of course, that main red as the main color. You got the word mark as the straight word mark coming in the center, but to me I feel like it's handled a lot better here, mostly just because of the coloring. You have way better black stripes, you have of course all those white lines coming through the middle, and to me I think there's just a lot more of a diverse jersey here, and although it's still not my favorite by any means, I think it's a lot better of a jersey than the ones before. Then let's move on to number 22, and this one is one of the most confusing ones to me in the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, I do like some pieces of this, and of course, this goes back to an early 2000s black Blue Jackets jersey that they had, which I thought was a pretty underrated one. Here, of course, they go for a little bit of like a baby blue almost color along the shoulders and on the bottom, and I also have to respect the creativity here. I mean, the Blue Jackets' last reverse retro jersey was completely out of left field, and this one kind of is along the same lines, but I still do like the colors here with the baby blue. Even though I don't think it fits amazingly, I still do like what they were going for. Next up at number 21, this is another jersey that to me I have some problems with in the Vancouver Canucks. Now, another jersey that I do like the colors of a lot. You have that, of course, that green, that dark navy blue almost, which I think really works, especially with the logo. My main problem though is the striping. To me, I think the green on the bottom is way too big, and it just does not fit the jersey whatsoever, as well as the stripes on the elbows and on the bottom. To me, although it makes it a little bit more different, I guess, I would have liked to see a lot more of thin stripes on the bottom and on the sleeves, and I think that would have complemented the entire color scheme a lot better. Now let's enter the top 20, and this is where we start to get into really solid designs in my opinion. At number 20, I have the Carolina Hurricanes. Now this is a jersey that I think is a solid design, although not all too inspired. It's basically their away jersey, but red, and that's pretty much it. Then going on to number 19 though, I have the Nashville Predators. Now, I think the 2020 or 2020 reverse retro they had, our last reverse retro, was pretty solid. This one, I think, is also decent. Of course, a lot of yellow, and that's the big thing that strikes you. But of course, you have that big old Predators logo, which I love to see return. I have a couple problems with it. I think the shoulders are a little bit basic for a jersey that is so yellow, but I also have a problem with the Nashville on the top. To me, it is extremely tacky. It's extremely out of place, and I know, of course, it's paying homage to those older jerseys, but I just don't like it whatsoever. The rest of the jersey, though, I think is pretty slick. Now let's go on to number 18. Next up and moving on to the Calgary Flames. They bring back that super unique striping and super unique color scheme, and to me, I think it's really cool to see. Although it's not my favorite jersey in the world, it's pretty inventive and was pretty inventive back then. And of course, you got the white Flames logo, which I love to see return on a Flames jersey. But overall, I think it's solid. I think it's okay, but nothing absolutely spectacular, which is why it's pretty much in the middle of the list. Next up, though, at number 17, a jersey that hasn't really changed all that much from its original inspiration in the Ottawa Senators. Of course, you bring back that swoosh design, of course, with, I guess, the updated logo for the Senators there, and of course, you keep the numbering, you keep the style there, which I think was super important. To me, I just feel like it's a little bit basic, a little bit simple, but in some ways, I do think it works for it. Now let's go on to the middle of the list here, and the exact middle, and now we're getting into really solid designs here. Next up at number 16, I have the San Jose Sharks, bringing back the Seals colors, the Seals design, and I think it works pretty well here. Of course, you got that super unique font on the middle, which is what strikes you the most. You got the colors of that teal, that yellow, and I don't think it should ever work, but somehow they always find a way to make it work, and I do think it being white does help it differentiate itself as well. Now, let's move on to number 15, and one of the more interesting designs, I would say, of the reverse retro crop in the Edmonton Oilers. Now, they bring back the oil drop look, which I think was a slam dunk move to make, but there are, of course, some changes. They bring in the orange, and that's really the main thing that differentiates itself from the older ones, which I think is good to have. I want to see it be different from the older designs in some way, and I do think in some ways it does work. I still probably prefer the original, but I do like where they went with it. Now, let's move on to 14. And if we're talking about bold, if we're talking about crazy designs, the Florida Panthers just decided to go nuts with their design, and I'm not even sure, even at this point, how to think about it. You look at this design, you got the baby blue as the main color there, as the color, as the middle. It's wacky, and of course you bring back the striping design that they had way back when they were first introduced, and to me I think it's really interesting. You also got that patch design as the middle crest, which I think is a great addition to have. To me, I like it. I do think all the colors and all these design elements put together is a little bit overbearing, but I still think it does work, even if it might not be my favorite. Now, 13th overall, and the 13th best reverse retro, I'm gonna go for the Winnipeg Jets. And it's a simple design, it's basic, I know, but it just works. That logo, just as simple as it is, and the colors on the sleeves and how it works all together, I think it's just a solid design. One of the more basic, absolutely, but you can't really go better than that for an away jersey. Now, let's move on to number 12, my favorite team and their reverse retro jersey. And obviously, there was some missed potential here, just like their last reverse retro jersey, but I can't deny that it looks still amazing, and that is the Dallas Stars. You got, of course, that new victory green coming down the shoulders, and of course, you got that white coming down. I think it works amazingly, and of course, is a nod to some of the first jerseys they ever had. And to me, I think the coloring here, the dimensions of the logo, although I still would have preferred to have a full star-shaped jersey, I will still take this quite a bit, and I still think it looks quite good. Now, let's go on to the final jersey outside the top 10, and another jersey that I think had some wasted potential, but I still think looks pretty solid in the New York Islanders. Now, not having the wavy design on the bottom is just so sad. I mean, it feels like Lou Lamoriello had to make some things happen to have this jersey happen in his own way, and I don't think that he would have stood for some wavy designs, but still at the same time, it does bring a lot of the life out of the fisherman jersey, which I think is a shame. If they had that wave and still the same color scheme and maybe a little bit of teal, I think this could have been easily top 5, top 3, but I mean, it still does take a lot for this current Islanders management to bring back that fisherman logo, and just for that, I gotta give them a ton of props. It's been a long time since we've seen that baby in action. But now we can move on to the final 10, the cream of the crop, the best reverse retro jerseys, and this next one might be number 1 in terms of just basic design, but I do have to dock at some points for originality, and that is the New York Rangers. Now, their last reverse retro is what I think this reverse retro should have been, but at the same time, it's still a classic jersey. It's a timeless jersey, and will always be one of the best. Now, and let's advance on to number 9, and a jersey that I think might be a lot lower for some people, but I just love for some reason, and that is the Montreal Canadiens. Now, I will say I would have added some more red, likely on the elbow sleeves right there for sure, but at the same time, I just love that baby blue. For some reason, I think it works amazingly on a Canadiens jersey, and in some ways, I think that clashes with that darker blue on the sleeves and on the bottom extremely well. I like this jersey a lot, and I'm just imagining Cole Caulfield in it. It would be amazing to see with those exposed colors truly coming into play. Now, let's go on to number 8, and one of the best white jerseys, I would say, of the crop in the Anaheim Ducks. Now, there's nothing too amazing and groundbreaking with this design, but of course, you got the orange incorporated with those original Ducks sweaters, and to me, I think it just works in a great way. One of the more low-key ones, but always seeing that Mighty Ducks jersey on the logo, let's not take it for granted. Now, let's move on to number 7, actually another away jersey. Next up, I have the Boston Bruins. You bring back the Pooh Bear onto the middle, and to me, I just absolutely love to see it. And of course, we've seen the Bruins have some pretty wacky designs in the past, and with that last reverse retro, I thought it was pretty solid. This time around, you bring back a lot of the original incorporated ideas of that Pooh Bear jersey, and again, although it's not too different from that one, I think it just differentiates itself enough, and I just love seeing it back in action. But now, let's go on to number 6, and actually 3 straight white jerseys, funnily enough. I have the LA Kings at this spot. The Kings jersey last time was one of my favorites, and it continues to be one of the best in my opinion. As a white jersey, I think it is about as good as you could possibly get. I'm a sucker for purple, I always will be, and it clashing with that classic yellow Kings colors, and that crown being at the middle, it just brings me so many memories, and so much nostalgia for me, and I think it deserves to be as high as it is. But now let's go into the top 5, the best of the best. And next up, I have the Minnesota Wild. Now, I will say, as a pure jersey, this could be top 3, but I do dock it just a couple of points for being basically the inverse of the last reverse retro jersey, but that doesn't stop it from being absolutely amazing. Now on to number 4, another jersey that isn't totally different, but it's the Screaming Eagle. The Washington Capitals have brought it back in its full glory, and of course we saw the red version of it last time. To me, I just love the black with this. It clashes way better with the colors and the design on the stripes, and you see, of course, that look on the bottom, that stripe on the bottom, and the Capitals were marked coming back in its full colors, and I could not be happier to see it. Seeing Ovi start with these colors, start with this design, and be at the almost end of his career, hopefully not, but towards the end of his career with this design, it is just amazing to see. But now let's go on to the top 3, and one of the most underrated jerseys in my opinion of this entire crop in the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, to me, I think with Vegas, this might be their best jersey ever, and I don't want to be hyperbole with that, but I really do think it might be the case. I love the colors here of the yellow and the red, and I think it really balances that color scheme amazingly, with the black being that main color, and I also do like how they went with the Vegas word mark here. I mean, there's a lot of ways you can make it a lot more simple, a lot more basic, but they went for this kind of like royal, kind of medieval look, and I think it just acts so well as the middle crest of this jersey, and to me, I wouldn't mind even getting it. It is that good. Now going on to number 2, and a jersey that is just killing it with their jersey designs over the last few years in the Arizona Coyotes. Now, I might still prefer their original reverse retro, but this one to me is a very close second. You got, of course, that orange as the main color there, and to me, I think it just works so incredibly well, and it just screams the desert too, which I think is a great thing to see. But of course, you got that classic design on the bottom, and although I still prefer the purple in almost every single way, the orange still looks pristine. But now, we go on to the number 1, and although I wasn't a big fan of their original reverse retro because I kind of wanted to see them do this, I can't lie, to me this is the best design out of the entire crop, and that is the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, I know a lot of people want to see the RoboCop back with the crest and of course the middle design there with the sleeves, but to me, I think this is a fantastic middle ground between that type of design and the current Penguins brand. To me, this perfectly fits, and of course you bring back the Robo Penguin and you have just a brilliant idea where you have the yellow on the top of that white, and then you have the same design and the same sleeves coming down, as well as the same stripes on the bottom. To me, I think this is one of the best reverse retros, one of the best jerseys over the past few years, and to me, I wouldn't even mind this being the main Penguins jersey. This is incredible. But that'll be it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and let me know in the comments down below, what do you guys agree and disagree with my picks and my rankings, and let me know where you guys would pick your favorite team's jersey. Where would it be in the rankings? Where would it be among all NHL teams? Let us know in the comments down below. Of course, share the video with your friends, get the reverse retro jerseys out there, and I will see you in the next one. Have a great day, y'all, and goodbye.